big question.
How are agents like us,
who didn't get an opportunity to invest in a franchise early,
who are spending time and money to sell homes,
building someone else's saleable asset?
How do we grow a business but still build wealth?
Have an exit strategy,
and get a piece of the pie that's not dependent
on us working more hours and every weekend?
That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer.
My name is Jay Kinder.
My name is Al Stasek.
And I'm Michael Reese. We are your hosts, and welcome to the One Big Fire Podcast.
Hey, what's happening out there, Honey Badger Nation? I'm here with William Andes, my new friend. I'm super excited to introduce you to. William, how you doing today, my friend?
Doing awesome. How are you, Jay?
Man, I'm always fantastic. I'm always excited. I'm always ready to help agents grow their business. And I love it when I meet a true professional. And I mean that when I say that because, you know, been in this business 28 years. I take it as my personal responsibility to help my clients and make them the best deal I can get them, or help them net the most money possible on their real estate transaction. And I can truly see that is who you are as a human, as a professional. And it's a privilege to have you on board here at eXp Realty. And I'd love to unpack. We can unpack and talk a little bit back and forth about why you made that decision and why you think more agents should probably know why eXp is where the pros go to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Jay, I appreciate your time. I know your time's valuable. You were one of the biggest key pieces that helped get me over to eXp by understanding how much that this model provides to you and how that I would like my lifestyle to be more like yours.
Right. Well, there's a lot to be said. I think, as you build your business, and you're always in this place where you don't know what you don't know, right? Like what's next, you can't really see around the corner a lot of times. And I think when you're in alignment with people who have been where you're trying to go, it certainly helps to see what maybe you don't know and what might be better, or what might actually be easier or better for your clients. And I think, as you did your discovery, nobody convinced you or, dragged you over here. You did your due diligence and you saw that this was a better place for you to build a business. And I think that's, what everybody should go through, is the process of discovering for themselves why this might be a better option if you're, want to build a successful business. So yeah, I'm proud to have you on board, man. So tell us a little bit about your story. I mean, you kind of came out of a rocket ship with your business. What's your background? What were you doing before real estate? How did you get into real estate? And how did you naturally just take to it and start becoming so successful, closing as much real estate as you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to college at IU here locally and graduated there, went into corporate sales for a little while. Then I helped a gentleman grow business development at his company in air filtration. And then from there, my dad was like, hey, he works in corporate marketing. So he does shirts, pins, coffee mugs, and works with large corporations that have like 100 employees or more. So he said, hey, I want you to come take over the business, be VP of sales and marketing. I'm like, sweet, awesome, get in the trenches. And then COVID just boom. Well, nobody needs shirts and pins and coffee mugs because you're not going to trade shows. So his business just really took a hit. And I still remember the conversation of like, hey, Will, I need you to take off next week. And then that turned into the next. And I was like, dude, I'm either going to file for unemployment or just make it happen. And I started an exterior cleaning business and we tripled my goal of what I thought we were going to do. Then I got into roofing sales, and in roofing sales, I was like getting on and off of roofs, getting down, coming home. And I loved the company. It was just like, dude, there's got to be something more. And then I started going through audiobook after audiobook after audiobook. And all these wealthy millionaires, what was the biggest thing that they had was real estate. They had millions of dollars in real estate. And then from there, I just immediately transitioned over, went into real estate full time, and sold $19.45 million my first full year in the business, got rookie of the year, 57 units, and ready to take to the next level.
That's insane, man. I'm gonna be honest. I listened for like, what are the takeaways here? First of all, you're a man of action. So I think that's that there's a lot to be said about just taking action. You obviously have a sales background and marketing background, so that certainly helps. But you develop people skills in all of these areas that you've been in, so it translates well to real estate. But how did you get to 50 plus transactions your first year? That's even if you know everybody, which I know you have a good sphere of influence, but that's really hard to do in a market that's been, really one of the toughest markets we've seen since the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. I started out in real estate as like, I graduated with a marketing degree. So I was like, okay, this business is a marketing business. I can grow this. And I realized real quick, this is a people to people, belly to belly business. And I just immediately pivoted to talking to people, setting appointments, cold calling, in face, just anything I could do to get in front of as many people as possible. When I made that pivot, it was like my business was mediocre and then just blew up.
Right. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about, making this transition over to eXp. What were you looking for, and what were maybe you missing, and then how did the process, as it, you come about, and we had several calls. I know you talked to a lot of our partners that you're in business with now over a period of time. How did that look, and what was that process look like?
Yeah. So I started with Keller Williams, and I have nothing but good things to say about Keller. Awesome people, awesome team. Like, the people around me were there for support. And as I got into real estate, I got here because of learning. And I mean, number one, God led me here. But in that of saying, okay, well, God led me here, how can I be the best servant of that? Then I have to learn. So I was at Keller Williams, and I got online, and I found you, and I found the eXp community, and I found like other communities around this rev share model. And I think it was Andrew Gadosh from up in Dayton. He's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once I understood that, okay, so I can build a brand, like you can see Andy's Realty, like I can build a brand in an office that I create. And from that brand, there's no franchising laws that will keep me or restrict me from growing our business. And I understood that, okay, so there's not franchising laws in eXp, and they are financially just from like comparing the other models or copycats of eXp, they're financially much more sound. So I see it as I can literally create a place where my clients, that money, like we talked about before on this, is my clients, that rev share model, that money is not just going to like me and like me spending money. It's like that money is going back to my clients instead of a big box franchise to help my client experience take it to the next level.
Right. It's a new revenue stream that didn't exist before. And I think it's probably worth unpacking, because I think I explain this a lot when I'm on one-on-one calls, but I think most people don't really generally understand, well, why is this revenue share? What is this? And why does it even exist? And why are agents now recruiting and other agents and helping other agents? What's going on? It's kind of the backwards from what I experienced in my business. And my dad had bought a Coldwell Banker franchise, great company. I was there for many, many years, number 2 in the world at one point for almost a decade. And never number 1. I hate to mention that part, but always number 2. But outside of noticing that there was always fees coming out of every check and they never stopped, that was an obvious thing that you noticed. The agents in my office didn't really have an incentive. They were nice to me, right? Because my dad owned the company, so they were nice to me. They're like, "Oh, Jay, go get them," but they never really wanted to. They would never tell me their best ideas, right? Because they didn't have an incentive to do so, right? There's no reason I'm their competition, just like any other person in town. And so they never really helped. And so I had to, figure it out. I always say, when you get your real estate license, it should just say, figure it out, because that's, pretty much how it works, right? You don't, there's nobody that's going to hold your hand and just tell you step by step what to do. And so, it was hard because I had to fly to all these different countries and go to these masterminds and find my ways into rooms where people that were doing what I didn't know how to do yet. And so I could learn from them. And so, eXp is cloud-based. And so these franchise models, the way they're all built, these legacy of models, and the reason why eXp has done so well, and the reason why, so many of the professional agents are coming over here, is that, there was somebody that owned a region, and that person's job was to, usually there's 2 or 3 or 4 people. I've never seen one for sale because they get residual income off of all the sales in a region. So it's a good business model for if you're one of those people. But they go sell franchises in territories tied to a physical office location. And that physical office location can recruit agents. The broker owner can recruit agents into that within a vicinity. You're limited to who you can recruit. And that's how those models work, but they're all tied to a physical location. And what Glenn Sanford realized was, like, if I didn't have all this money in these physical locations and selling territories to different folks, you could literally recruit someone anywhere in the world to eXp. but it didn't have the mechanism of somebody bought a franchise to go recruit agents. So the question was, well, who's going to go help us build this company if we're cloud-based? And cloud-based being just more efficient. We all kind of know this now. We've gone through COVID. We all kind of get the efficiencies of being 1 or 2 clicks away from watching your content online. There's nobody's going to go back to Blockbuster's model. It's like, it's just inefficient. And it caught up to us in real estate with the ease of getting information and getting answers to questions. You don't need to drive to a physical location to get training. You don't need to drive to a physical location to get an answer to a broker question. You can click twice on your phone and get whatever you need from anybody that you need anytime. And so the efficiencies are incredibly important, because if it wasn't more efficient, then people wouldn't use it. But that was a big difference. And so what Glenn Sanford did was he iterated on a model that was already successful in Keller Williams, and that was a profit share model. Where there was profit to be shared. If the office made profits, some of that goes to the agents that refer other agents into the company, because if agents like where they're at, they'll tell other agents. So there was some opportunity in that. And Glenn changed that to revenue share. He said, we're going to give revenue share off of in any deals that you bring an agent in and they sell the deals, you're going to earn a little bit off of what they pay into eXp. And so that was a huge difference, because profit, if there's no profit to share. And so you could never really know if you recruited somebody, if it was actually going to be there next month or not. You could, so you couldn't really build a business around doing that. But at eXp, it's revenue share off the top. So 200 million plus the last 2 years, 3 years that's been paid out on top of the commissions to other agents within the company just for helping grow the company. And what that's done from a cultural standpoint is fascinating. And it's the reason why we're all here. I feel like, William, you have a servant's heart, right? Like, you love what you're doing. And you probably love helping other people too. And that's how I am. I don't want people to have to go through what I went through when I had to get in the business and figure it all out. And it was very frustrating. And there's got to be a better way. You wake up every day thinking that. And it's like, well, how can we make it better? Well, in our model, we basically benefit by helping other agents. So there's no reason for me to ask for a credit card and say, hey, pay me for this coaching or sell you products or do any of those things. That is how I learned how to become more successful. You just basically partner with the top agents in the industry, and they get to open their playbooks and help you. And then on the back end of that, they get passive income by helping you be more successful. So it's not about, money and making revenue share or recruiting agents. It's a support mechanism for the agents within our ecosystem. We actually all help each other. And that is very unique for anybody that's out there struggling. And it's like, man, I wish somebody would help me figure it out or help me with implementation. It's created the ability for all of us to do that and help other people grow their businesses and become, better businesses, more professional, serve their clients better. And from, coming from people that have done it before, when you're partnered with the right people, it just makes a huge difference in the ability to be successful in real estate. So I think that's usually missed when you hear about it, or you feel like someone's trying to recruit you. It's like, oh, they're just trying to make money off of me. No, that's not really what the goal is. The goal is if we can help you be more successful, you might be a good fit here. And so does that kind of go along with kind of what you discovered as we had those conversations?
Yeah, I was talking to Andrew in Ohio when I went up there, and he's just like, man, we all hit this wall where we train all of our people. And then once you train somebody to be so good, they're powerful with all the knowledge. And they're like, hey, man, I feel like I can do this myself. And he's like, man, we all got together in our mastermind. And once this person leaves my company, then they go and they, win in their own world, but there's no reciprocation and there's no more incentivization to say, hey, I want to help this person more. So there you go. Of eXp is like, if you join, let's say Andy's Realty, and you're on a team, and then you go and you stay in eXp, like, it's in my best interest to continue to pour into you and your team, because if they're successful, then we're all successful together. And that's what I've experienced here, is like being on all these calls is we're all sharing knowledge that, like, for you would share knowledge with me from your market, with Jim, like all these different guys, and they're giving me the top level tier of information. And what I've experienced thus far is the people who win very high levels of success in eXp are the people who are truly entrepreneurs, because it takes an entrepreneur to break out of that 20, 30, 40 deals a year to say, oh man, dude, like, I think I can make serious money. And once you as an entrepreneur put those pieces together, that you can build your brand under eXp, you can create your own franchise in your market.
Right. Exactly. It's literally the way I explain it to people is like, you might buy a Microsoft computer or you might buy a Dell computer, but it's still powered by Intel. Right. And so it's the same thing with eXp. You can, it's your brand. And I always use the analogy. I probably told you this on the call the other day. It's like what Jay-Z says, I'm not a businessman. I am the businessman. Right. You're the brand, right? Like you're the brand. It's not the, and the reason for that, this is a really unique industry because, in every other industry, if it's a franchise, they control the experience, right? You go to pretty much any retail store, restaurant, any of those things, you get the same experience, and that's managed from the brand and from the franchise. But in real estate, we control the consumer experience. So you could go to any company, including eXp, and get a good agent and an experience or a bad agent and experience. And so it's not about the company because the company doesn't own the chain of custody of the client and the client experience. And so that's very unique. And so for that reason, there's no brand that matters. It doesn't, because anybody who tries to tell you the brand matters, what I have learned by reading independent contractor agreements with these companies, they're just trying to put golden handcuffs on you so you can't build a business. They want you to build their business. And that is not the goal. We're all entrepreneurs here. We're all building our own businesses. The company's not responsible for our success. It's a vehicle to allow us to be more successful. And that's a huge difference. And once you kind of understand that, and then you get around people that are like, what, you're going to help me do this? Like, it's a different experience. And I'm super excited that you're on board and that you're a sharp guy, man. Like some people take forever to get it. It clicked with you right away. And so, that says a lot about your business acumen and just understanding, hey, this is going to be way easier for me to do everything I'm trying to do and add value to my clients and not have to make the mistakes. Because as an entrepreneur, you don't realize, and you did this quickly, but as you start building a team, your name goes into different spots on the org chart, right? Now I'm a sales trainer, manager. You've got operations, you've got sales, marketing, accounting, all these things that you're in control of in your own business. But as you evolve and start to, lead people and lead others, it starts, you start to have to learn new skills and become, I always say it's about the person you have to become in order for you to have whatever it is you want to have. Jim Rohn obviously said that long before me, but it's a key, it's a key part of your growth is, if you're not good at certain things, you don't have to necessarily do them, but you do have to learn that I might have to be able to hire or delegate those things to someone else that might be better so that I can still continue to grow. And so, it's a unique business. It's a fun business. It's been so good to me, and I'm super blessed and really, really excited that we found eXp and that Glenn, created this model. And I was smart enough to at least listen until I couldn't, till I saw it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's the type of person that you are. Like I was thinking the other day, if I have to have someone tell me to work, then why am I even running a business? Like if I have to tell somebody like, hey, you need to go do, like, I don't want to be that kind of manager. And if I have to have someone tell me like, you got to go to the office, you have to be here. Like, dude, I should be myself telling myself, unless you're at the office at 8:00, then like, are you even serious about your business? So I think it's cool because like we've created a unique hybrid type of vibe here where like I've got a physical address where people can come and be a part to where if they need a little bit of like, hey guys, like this is the community. As we build that community, people are coming in, they're saying, dude, like this eXp thing is a hybrid of, dude, I can come here or I can work from home, and it's bringing that all together. So Jay, I want to ask you about the rev share because there's a lot of questions out there, and I see this like different people ask me like, what's this rev share thing about? And I had a question for you for your family, bringing it down home. What has the revenue share model done for you and your family?
Yeah, it's completely changed my life. I'll talk numbers because I think if people understood what's really actually possible, they would all already be here. So, a lot of people say, oh, well, Jay, you got in kind of early, didn't you? You've been, but I've been doing it 7 years. And so in 7 years, I pull these numbers all the time, but it was 2.2 agents that I personally had attracted to the company. So if I was a recruiter, I would have probably been fired. So it's not very many agents, but But that's the way the model works is, and this is brilliant, is when innovation is when you take something that's working. And Jay Ram used to say this, he's one of my mentors, and he's like, you adapt, adopt, and apply that to something that you're doing. So you look at something over here that's in another industry, and you learn how to adapt, adopt, and apply it to real estate. And what Glenn did was he adapted, adopted, and applied a compensation model, a very aggressive compensation model that agents now benefit from, to be able to attract agents and be compensated through a network marketing comp plan, which is a for people that don't understand what that means. It's not a pyramid scheme. Network marketing is not a pyramid scheme. Network marketing is a way to take a product to market by word of mouth, right? So you could put your product in, into Walmart and retail and sell it for, and you'll make a little bit, but they're going to sell a whole bunch of them. Or a network marketing company might take your product, generally pills, potions, and lotions. Obviously, we're selling real estate here. That's another big distinction. But and the reason for that, the reason I think there's a little bit of people that have had bad experiences with network marketing is because there's always a better pill, another pill that comes out. There's always another potion or lotion that comes out. And so you have a great product for a while until someone creates one better, and then your opportunity goes away. And so there's never been like this super system. Amway was the best at it for the longest period of time. Mary Kay, a lot of these companies, people made millions and millions and millions of dollars by building an organization, leading people, and helping them to go out and make income by selling these products, and building an organization of people doing that. Well, those principles apply to revenue share here. And so you have the opportunity to earn revenue off of an agent I brought on, who brought on another agent, who brought on another agent, and brought on another agent. And so that for me has turned into over 9,000 agents, 8,000 agents that I get paid on every single month. A little bit off of every agent every time they close a transaction up until the point they cap. And so, for those that want to pursue helping other agents, because I don't think this is about recruiting. I don't feel like I've ever recruited anybody. I know my goal is for no one to feel like they're being recruited, but to feel like I'm actually just trying to help them. And if they come on board and I can help them and help them close more deals, I win, they win. So, that's been, the whole concept. Our whole group here, we call it Honey Badger Nation. I think aptly named after the honey badger that is relentless in its pursuit of its goal. And so, I think that's been, our spirit animal, so to speak. But yeah, it's really about, who can we help today? And once people understand, and again, it's kind of born out of frustration from how hard it was to be successful in real estate. Like, it really was difficult. And I think most agents resonate with that, and they're just looking for someone to help them, and we get compensated by helping you. So that's a really unique opportunity. And, for me, I had the good fortune of, living in Puerto Rico for the last 4 years. It's a beautiful island. Lived with, in the same neighborhood as Jake and Logan Paul, and, met a lot of really wealthy people, met some of the most interesting and fascinating people on the planet, that have all done something significant, or they would have never moved to where we lived in Puerto Rico. And so, and what's interesting about that, William, is like, out of all these people that I met, you ask them, I'd love to ask what they did, because, you'd be, one gentleman I met bought a house right across the street from me, $8 million cash, sight unseen. And I saw him out in his yard, and we got to talking. I was like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I'm in insurance." I was like, "Well, that makes sense. Residual, I get it." I was like, "Well, what kind of insurance?" He said, "We sell extraction insurance." I said, "Extraction insurance? What's that?" He said, "We'll extract you from any situation anywhere in the world within 24 hours." And that's the kind of insurance he sold. And, he obviously had done extremely well with this one little niche, little niche product that he provides. And super fascinating, right? So I'm meeting all these people there, but they've all done fascinating, just amazing entrepreneurs. And so, but when they ask me what I do, I'm like, okay, like, I'm the low man on the totem pole over here. I'm like, well, there's this company called eXp. And then I would tell them the model, and I would tell them about revenue share. They would instantly get it. And they would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. That's amazing," because they understand leverage. Yeah. And, in real estate at my peak, when I was selling, people would say this was when you were doing the best, and that, go Jay, you sold 500 homes a year, 55 closings in 1 month. And then I would get to the end of the month and I would have to erase the board and start over. And I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to feel like. If this is a success, it's not, there's no leverage in it, because I had to do it every month. It was very transactional. And so looking for something better, man, I'm looking for leverage. I'm looking for my time back. And so that's what revenue share just allows you, even if it's just paying for your car, then it's paying for your house, then it's paying for your car, your house, and your lake house. And before you know, you're pouring this money back into helping others. You're pouring this money into making a better client experience. It just gives you the flexibility to make it through the hard times, the hard years. I mean, you weren't around for 07, 08 and in real estate. That the scars that I have, I will never, they'll never heal from that. It was the hardest time I've ever been through. The last 2 years probably feel that way for a lot of agents today. And so those are, it's just another revenue stream that didn't exist. And now it does. And so, I think it's important for people to explore and be open-minded to, well, maybe maybe I don't understand it, or maybe I don't know how this might benefit me in ways that I've never even thought. And that, fortunately for me, I listened close enough until I understood it. And then I was like, this is the most brilliant thing. Everybody wins. The company wins, the agents win. And when the company wins bigger, the agents win bigger. When the agents win bigger, the company wins. Everybody wins. Okay. So like, you're not just taking more money from me. So, that you're not just trying to increase your split and take more from me or feed me to death. You're actually an advocate for the agent building a business. And that's what Glenn's vision is. And he has definitely delivered on that. And so, yeah, it's changed my life and the lives of many, many, many others, and certainly can do the same for anybody who's open-minded to it.
That's awesome. And then as far as like income possibility, So that was one of the biggest things when you opened up your account and you're like, oh, man, this might sound like a joke, but here's how much I'm making per month from the transaction.
So full disclosure, results may vary. Obviously, there's some probably legal disclosure before we talk about, some of these things, but I've made a little over $18 million in 7 years at eXp. That's month to month, it's going to be based upon the sales, throughout the year. So, and the high, maybe $400,000 or $500,000. There's people making $800,000, $900,000 a month in eXp. And the interesting thing is, there's many agents that are making, $500,000, $1 million a year in passive income that didn't. Now, granted, I had a coaching company. I had been making deposits in real estate agents' lives for a long time before I came to eXp. So I did have an advantage there, I would say. But the agents that just come over and they bring over 1 or 2 agents a month, and then they teach them to do the same thing. And that turns into 400, 500, 1,000 agents underneath them over the course of time. And it's just naturally how it goes. You can't join unless somebody invites you. Like, we're not over here, inviting people we don't want to partner with. We're only inviting the people we want to partner with. And so we're growing naturally by relationships and people that are like-minded and want to grow and want to add value to people's lives. And so that's how it grows. And it doesn't, whether you want it to or not, that's going to, so if you bring somebody over, they bring someone and it grows, you still get paid on all that. So that is, it's a real possibility. I do believe right now we are in eXp's 2.0 phase where we hit scale, we hit competition that we didn't have. And we survived all of the challenges to get to scale, which is very difficult to do profitably, which, by the way, Glenn Sanford bootstrapped this whole thing. This is a unicorn company bootstrapped is unheard of. And so they need to just do a documentary on this, because it is fascinating how he was able to do it and do it profitably this whole time. So very, very cool. But a lot of these companies that are like, oh my God, this eXp thing is a rocket ship, let's go compete. Right. And then they say, well, we'll just be cheaper. So, it's a lower cap, that'll work. Right. Okay. Well, they still, had to go borrow money. They've got debt. They've got to answer to investors. And then they've got to hire the best people they can to make sure that us as agents are able to do our jobs, and they're handling the back end support of the business with less money to do it. And so it's super hard to compete. I mean, I would say, who do you order from when it's not Amazon? And it's like, Amazon, like, who's after Amazon? There isn't another Amazon. And that's where we're at in our position as a category killer in real estate. And not to say these other companies aren't great and there's not good things about them, but they will never be us, and they'll never have the people that we have. And that's that makes a huge difference in the success. It's not dependent on any one person. It's collectively the entire company of great people that work at eXp and the leadership that we have, and then the greatest agents on the planet. are here or they're coming. And so it's been a fun ride. It's a lot of fun to work with people like you, and to see you grow and to be able to contribute any way that we can. And you'll benefit just the same in being able to do that for other people as well. And it's super rewarding.
Absolutely. So for people who are out there kind of wondering, well, you know, this eXp thing, like what would be the biggest thing that you could see someone coming from a big box brokerage, as did I was more of a younger, like I understood the model a lot quicker, I feel like, what I've seen. But for someone who's maybe been at a bigger box brokerage for like 10, 20 years, what would be your recommendation of how that would feel and how that transition would look like?
Yeah. So, you know, it's for everyone, it's going to be a little bit different, I would imagine, but complete shock people say the same thing every time. I should have done this sooner. I should have done this sooner. And it's because you can't possibly imagine something. It's like seeing a UFO. I've never seen one before. I don't know what that would feel like if I saw one. But it's that much different. And so when you get onboarded, and I don't know how far into the process with my team you've been working, but we actually help you with every aspect of the business. We help you with building your ads, your ad campaigns, the strategy, how to go after that. We actually help you with the implementation of all these things, help build your brand, your social elements, and then social media, all of these things that we do. Like when you go join a brokerage, you just figure it out because no one's there to do any of these things. And that's the kind of experience that you can have when you join eXp. And so it feels like you've hired, this massive team to help you build your business. And in reality, it's just because we get compensated so well in revenue share, we just pour into everybody. And we built systems and processes around making that experience like rolling out the red carpet. And it's fun, right? Like when somebody comes on board and they're like, what in the world? This is unbelievable. Well, that's good for us because if you come over here and your story is, I went from here to here, then now you're going to literally genuinely stop people in the street and be like, listen, you don't understand. eXp is different. You listen to what happened. This is what you like when you're genuinely having a better life because of the choice you made. Attracting other agents becomes infinitely easier. And so the key to this whole thing is actually making sure that we help people become more successful. And if we do that, then the agent attraction and the passive income and all that stuff is just a byproduct of adding value. And
I think that's the next level of eXp is the Honey Badger group, because that's what I've seen is like your son, like he's there to help with the social media. And then I've got others who help me like onboard this, and this is what you need to do. And then local support here. So with that, I think that goes a lot to talk about the Honey Badger group of what I've experienced thus far of helping with those different pieces. Can you explain, because I know there's a lot of different groups in eXp. Yeah. So can you explain that, why the benefit of Honey Badgers? Yeah.
So the, and this is it creates a benefit and depending on who you come in with, the experience may be different. So that is a potential threat that I happen to know that something that's coming with eXp that's going to be the biggest game changer since we started this company, since Glenn started this company. So the group that you join may or may not have. We just happen to be a coaching organization that joined eXp. We already had coaching calls, trainings, and we had products and services and things that we sold to real estate agents. And then we said, well, what if we didn't sell them and we just come over here, partner with us, and we just give you everything that you need to be successful. And we help you with all of this. And then, we crossed our fingers and hoped we would get paid on the back end, that we would help more people be successful. And that would result in us getting paid more than what we would charge for it. And that's what happened with revenue share for us. And so that is a totally different animal. And so, this last year, and this was because of because of my time in Puerto Rico, and seeing these really smart people that were just so geeked out about this model. I was like, how would I double this? How would I make it better? How would I double down on trying to grow this organization here at eXp and meaning Honey Badger Nation? And I said, well, I know my biggest challenge in real estate was when I had to do the implementation of stuff. And like, even to this day, I'm like, I've got a team that are the same team that you get to use and leverage. And they're the best people that I could possibly hire because that's what it takes to work with me. And if I had to go implement the technology and figure it all out, it would never happen. In fact, somebody asked me this morning, about a post that was on my Instagram. And I was like, I have no idea how that happens. I don't know what they use to do that, but I know the guy, the guy that does it, he can help you. Right. So I don't need to know how to do all those things. And that's where I think agents get stuck and get frustrated is it's not the lack of ideas. If I gave you a qualified seller or a qualified buyer, most agents tell me, yeah, I'll probably close the deal. I'm pretty good with people. I just don't know how to implement all these things. And while I'm really busy doing other things too, I'm juggling all these roles and responsibilities. I just need help with implementation. And so that was the big evolution for us was let's just pour into, the things we know work. And then let's get people through the tech overwhelm and the, having to go find, should I buy this thing or buy in, all these crappy lead services? Like, let's just do what we know works and just do it for everybody. And so that's been, it's vastly different, than joining, somebody at another company. And other companies that are copying this model, you can't even offer to do that. They don't want you to because they think it's an unfair advantage. And then to be fair, it is kind of an unfair advantage because we do add a lot more value when we do things like this. So, and that's but I like a capital market. So I'm pretty okay with that. I could never work somewhere where I was limited to the value I could add to someone's life. It's not who I am as a human being. I would never do it. And so that's a big difference. And that what that does is it creates everybody wanting to add more value. When you see someone adding value and they're doing really good, it's like, well, I want to do that too. I want to be able to add that value to anybody I bring on. And so we just keep evolving and trying to improve upon what I consider to be a value proposition of eXp plus the partnership with all of us. And that's been, for me, it's fun because I get to continue to learn, I continue to grow, continue to evolve and create more new things and stay on the bleeding edge of what's working. If I wasn't allowed to do that, then, you would just be, you would be coming over here to eXp and you'd be like, we would give you a certificate that says, figure it out. And that's how every company before us has operated and it doesn't work well. And so, that's a big difference then. And we take a lot of pride in adding value and the group that we have is a super special group because of that.
Love that. Awesome. Well, Jay, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. You really just helped explain and to anybody who's watching, like Jay's a big reason why I joined eXp because I saw what was possible. And I see where people who maybe aren't around the spheres, they always talk about in success mentorships that the masterminds that you get with, the people that you spend time with will either take you to their level or they will bring you down. And I found every step of the way getting in rooms like with Jay, it's been huge for my business just to be like, yeah, I could sell 50 deals a year or 100 deals a year, or like you could sell 500, 1,000 deals a year and just elevating that mindset. So I appreciate you sharing the vision with me, Jay.
Absolutely. And I would say too, to anybody that's watching it, if assume the things you've been told are wrong, maybe assume that you're missing something, reach out to William, have a conversation and just ask questions and then be open-minded to seeing how this might be better for you. It's certainly with the way it's gone the last couple of years, if you're struggling, it can't get much worse, right? There's got to be a better way. And we would love to have the opportunity to try to help you grow your business. And so that's what it's all about for us. And, I hope that, anybody that's watching this, at least this kind of maybe gave them a little different perspective as to why this is different and how it's helping agents become more successful.
Absolutely. Hey, Jay, thanks so much, man.
And I appreciate you, William. Have a great day, bud.
All right, buddy. You too. Bye.
Goodbye.